What's going on, everyone? My name is Jeff. So guys, first off, I want to apologize. Over the past week, I've been extremely busy with other projects, have not had time to make videos, so this is my first opportunity to kind of get back in, make a few videos. So the first thing I do want to cover, guys, is Canopy gross earnings from last week. Of course, I'm sure by now most of you already seen Canopy took a huge dive right there after earnings. You know, here on June 20th, it was traded up to the $43, $44 range. And of course, they reported earnings late after close. And of course, the stock almost immediately traded down around 10% to $40. And on Friday, when the market closed, Canopy growth at $39.85. So it has been a while since we've seen these levels. Canopy has actually been maintaining that $40 level for quite a while now. I know a lot of people really viewed $40 as a great level of support, but we can kind of throw all the fundamentals out the window, guys. The rules are just unfortunately different for some of these MJ companies, and I want to tackle their earnings report, kind of break it down step by step. We'll do a little bit of comparison to some of the other companies, and then of course towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk about if I'm still holding shares of Canopy Growth Corp and do I plan to buy more. So guys, if you have not done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any stock market updates or content, and please drop a like on this video, guys. I appreciate all the fan support. Alright guys, so the results of this were actually out on Thursday night, but some of this stuff did not get reported till Friday morning. So I know there was a lot of confusion surrounding that. I was watching the stock pretty close after hours, did not see a lot of movement, but Canopy Growth Corp was down 6% in pre-market on fiscal Q4 results, okay? So the revenue of $94 million, that was actually up 312%. So they are putting out roughly $29 million more dollars of revenue than Aurora Cannabis. But honestly, guys, I'm just gonna stop right here. I was expecting a much larger number than 94 million, okay? I felt like investors, especially on the institutional side, were not impressed with that number. I think some of the earnings whispers, I know a lot of the undertones that I heard all week, a lot of people were expecting somewhere between 125 and 150 million. That would have been a very encouraging number that perhaps you would have seen the stock at least maintain its level or grow a little bit. So like I said, that $94 million of revenue was just perceived as kind of disappointing. Now they are at an operating loss of $174 million, a net loss of $323 million. So again, that's what I was talking about at the start of the video. The rules have changed, okay? These MJ companies are being looked at the same as any other company, and I think the newness and perhaps the special treatment in a lot of the institutional buying is slowing down quite a bit because Canopy Growth has been on the market long enough. It is time to start cleaning up some of these losses and to start becoming more fundamentally sound. Now, one thing, Thursday at close, I did get wind of a huge institutional short sale on CGC. Now, sometimes I will see that. That will kind of be my cue to go and short a company or buy puts on them, but I simply did not react to it. And then of course we all seen the following day that the stock tanked 10%, and there was nothing on this report that really impressed investors. Kilograms and kilogram equivalents of cannabis sold 9,326. That's up 269% year over year. Now I'm going to stop right there, guys. Do have to keep in mind the growth is still there. We are going to cover that in just a moment. So don't lose sight of that. Even though some of these stocks are losing share price, these companies are still growing at a very, very fast rate. It is just time to start cleaning up some of the fundamentals. Average selling price per gram was $7.49, and then the kilograms harvested was 14,469. That was up 200% year over year. Now, when I did see this news, guys, I did get pretty excited that Canopy Growth preps for US rollout and that they have big plans for CBD products here in the States. During the earnings call, Canopy Growth execs said the company expects to have a leading CBD product market share in the US as drinks, edibles, skincare, and pet products all rolled out over time as legislation allows. Now, that might just be something to hook investors and maybe perhaps to kind of cover up how disappointing this earnings call has been, but any kind of penetration into the United States, guys, I am very, very bullish on that. And Canopy Growth is one of the first mainstream MJ companies to really mention that. So that is definitely something we're going to be keeping an eye on. And also mention that Canopy Growth's U.S. planting footprint will cover more than 4,000 acres when at full capacity. So there is a lot of really good things to look forward to there. And thus far, you want to go off revenue, you want to go off kilograms grown and sold, Canopy Growth is still the leader. Now, I would not be surprised if Aurora Cannabis catches up to them in revenue pretty soon, but I'm not exactly expecting that either. We're just going to have to see how these companies progress quarter to quarter. Now, this article was actually put out a couple of days before earnings, and I think it's pretty obvious, and we are all pretty aware of this, that Canopy Growth CEO is putting a lot of emphasis just simply on growth right now, which does make me a little concerned because I know analysts and I know institutions are really looking for a fundamental turnaround in some of these companies. Like Aurora Cannabis, they really cut into their net and overall loss last quarter, and you've seen a big improvement there. So I think also the same applies for Canopy Growth. They did crank out more revenue, but they also cranked out a lot more loss. And of course, I just mentioned this a couple of moments ago, but I will say, to reiterate, when the U.S. strengthens its cannabis regulations on a federal level, Canopy Growth is ready to go. And of course, we all know it doesn't operate in the U.S. marijuana market yet. It plans to, but that is why it can list on the New York Stock Exchange. They won't list companies that violate federal law. Did go on to mention it is poised to do so. It has won a New York state license to process and produce hemp, a strain of cannabis grown for fiber and seeds rich in cannabidiol, and contains trace amounts of THC, the intoxicating component of cannabis. They plan to invest around $150 million in production facility in the small town of Kirkwood, New York, and they also agreed to buy Acreage Holdings. Of course, most of you already know about this, but that is a U.S. cannabis operator in a deal valued at over $3 billion when marijuana is legally permissible federally. So let's talk for a minute about my personal position on CGC. Now guys, my long-term position actually got stopped out around $41. I started buying shares of CGC back in December when that big dip happened. Of course, Aurora Cannabis was my much larger position, but I slowly over the course of 2019 built CGC into my second largest MJ position. And going into this earnings report, I was actually coming in at a cost basis at around $38. And I have played call options a couple of different times throughout the year. I was successful on both of those trades. But shortly after that earnings report, my shares sold at $41 during that big drop, okay? And I walked away with about roughly 12%. Now, the thinking behind that, guys, was just simply, I do think CGC is going to trade under $38. I think for the next couple of weeks and possibly 2 to 3 months, you're going to see CGC dip for a while. And, like I mentioned too, a lot of that is just going to depend on market conditions, but this earnings report really hit investors as underwhelming. But I do want to try and focus on some of the positive things, especially on the mention of their plans to penetrate into the United States. So while Canopy is readjusting and trading down, guys, I definitely want to start another position, okay? This is one of the first companies to come out and lay out a comprehensive plan to penetrate the United States. And of course, as regulation unfolds and unwinds and opportunities become available, but I do find Canopy Growth to become even more attractive now. So in conclusion, guys, I just kind of want to wrap up by saying this. I am simply going to be standing on the sidelines watching Canopy Growth trade for a while, and I look to re-enter this stock somewhere between $35 and $37. So I'm going to go ahead and call Canopy Growth a buy at $36, okay? Some people would say, okay, well now you're looking at it like it has about a 10 to 15% downside, and yes, I do think that's true. I don't think Canopy Growth is going to bounce right back after this disappointing earnings call, and again, that's why I sold my position. So Canopy Growth, CGC, it's a buy at $36. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for the video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, Go down to the comment section, share with me your thoughts. Do you think CGC is a buy? Do you think $36 is a good place to start buying shares again, or do you think it will trade down lower? As always, thank you for watching the video and have a great day.